Hello there, today we're talking about whether the XT1 is still a viable option in 2020 for video recording. Yeah. I'm shooting on the XT3 and the XT1 because I just want to see if the XT1 can still hold up really. And actually it doesn't look too bad, and it's taken me forever to figure out how to get IAF to work on the XT1 because they released that in a firmware update. It's not bad. I have a week off work. So I thought, what a great week to start making videos again, when I actually have some time. The only slightly unfortunate part about this week is that I do have some things I need to figure out for work before I can get on with just doing fun stuff all the time. There's like one really important thing that I tried to get done last week before I finished the week, but just couldn't, so I need to do that today because it's just the easiest way to do it. We're gonna have a great week. I'm also only running the audio off of one, so I'm really hoping that this is okay. But I do love this little camera. I got it wrong. There is no IAF continuous autofocus on this camera. This camera is only on autofocus S, AFS, single autofocus. Continuous you still can't do it on. So, which I don't think you can. But that is so cool. I love watching the iris open. Maybe it does work. Just discovered an epic opportunity to test out the video capabilities of this XT1 now with some leaf sweeping. So yeah, let's get it. I lost the Fujifilm lens cap, so I'm using a Canon one. Thanks Canon. Good sweeping.
Hey?
It's a good sweeping. There we go. So that's the XT1 real world review.
In Southern California.
Okay, I've slept on it for a night. I've had an evening to think about it, put my thoughts about the Fujifilm XT1 for video use. A very simple approach. I've thrown some of the footage into Premiere Pro. You will have just seen it alongside some of the footage from my XT3, mainly the bit with my mum sweeping leaves. And then I also filmed a little like coffee cup B-roll kind of sequence of the process of cleaning the cup basically and putting it away, just as a little test. That was a one shot the whole way through. I just repositioned the camera. The downsides to my own process in that is that I didn't adjust for different lighting in different situations, so it's really blown out in that part where I'm cleaning up the cup in the water and also when I'm drying it. And interestingly, I think it had a really big impact on the autofocusing. So earlier in this video, I wasn't too sure how the autofocusing now worked in movie mode on the XT1. What I think happens is it does work with face detect in single and continuous autofocus. Anyway, I was actually pretty impressed with how some of the footage came out. You're super limited in your options on the XT1 when it comes to video recording. You can shoot at a maximum of 1080 60p footage, which isn't bad, but it's not great. You don't get any options like Fuji log. You don't get all the film simulations that you get on the XT3 or the XT4. And so not being able to shoot an F-log kind of means you're stuck with whatever that final look is. There's some maneuverability, but I find that so much color gets baked in to the image, into the video file, that you really can't do too much with it. So for example, when I shoot those leaves, when I look back at it, like the color temperature was way off. It was far too orange. It just looked terrible, really. All that to say though, it actually did pretty well. Like, I was pretty impressed. This is a beat up camera. This is a well used, well loved camera. My short thoughts on the XT1 for a video camera in 2020 are meh. Like, if you're looking to just capture a few things here and there, like, go for it. But obviously what you're missing out on the XT1 in 2020 is things like 4K, is 120, is log shooting, or even HLG shooting. It works really well with different glass. Like, I chucked all different lenses on it yesterday and it worked absolutely fine. The autofocusing was fine on all of them. It is slow to autofocus, I will say that as well. Like, it really does take a while to detect faces, to catch up. And it hunts so much. I always find this with the XT1 when I go back to it. Even when I'm shooting photos, it hunts for focus so much. And if you've got time, like I went out yesterday to shoot some photos, some landscapes. If you've got time, like I had yesterday, that is absolutely fine. But when you're trying to capture moments, quite frustrating that the autofocus system is quite slow. There's some things I really liked about shooting with this though. It's a slightly smaller form factor again than the XT2 and the XT3 and the XT4. So it's got a bit of a dinkier feel, which is quite nice if you're just trying to maneuver around easily, which is not a big issue, but it is a pro for it. I like the idea of a separate record button. So on here, I don't know if this is in focus, but there's a button here to start recording compared to the shutter button, which is here. Great idea, poor execution on this camera. It's so fiddly, it never works half the time. You have to hold it down for like 2 seconds to actually start recording, which if you're not, because it hasn't got an articulating screen, you can't see what you're recording, so you don't know if you've started recording. That is a bit of a nightmare, like trying to work around that. And obviously the general pros that come with Fujifilm, which is just the ergonomics of the design, the tactileness of all the buttons, lack of features, including things that doesn't have a touch screen. There's no option to sort of set your focus using the tap of the back. There is no lever on this, so I always forget how I change my focus point, and that is a real ball ache every time because I have to remember which quick button I've assigned to the autofocus point, and it's just a bit slow. So is the Fujifilm XT1 still an option in 2020? Yes, it's still an option if you don't care about all the great features that come with modern cameras, all the speed and the look and the film options, the codecs that come on newer cameras. If you're not worried about those things, this is still a great camera for making little home videos and vlogs and things like that. Downside to it, no articulating screen, slow to focus, no sort of dedicated eye autofocus. It has autofocus in video, which is great. Would I use it today? No, I'm not going to swap out the XT3 for the XT1. It's good for a second if I need it. But even then, I don't really like the picture profiles. I really don't like the lack of log now because I like to shoot a lot in log to push myself. But yes, it's still a good option. If you're looking to challenge yourself, go for it. Grab an XT1. They're super cheap. That's the other side at the moment. They are so cheap online. Next up, I have a video coming out on the XT1 for photography in 2020 because I think they're so different. If you did like the video, hit like below, subscribe to the channel so you get notified whenever I post a new video, and I will see you in the next one.